afternoon, everyone. Again, welcome to annual training for State Fiscal Year 25 for the Quality First Scholarships Program. This is our agenda for this afternoon. In part one, we will do an introduction and general overview of the program. We'll also talk about annual contracting. We will then move into family qualification, fiscal monitoring, and then following that, we will discuss monthly reporting and payment. Those first few topics are all of the required information. At that point, if you don't have any questions, you can feel free to disconnect at that time. But if you do have questions, we'll pause at that point to answer those. And then after that, we do have a demo of the Quality First Scholarships reporting portal. So if you are new to the program or have never qualified children before, we will go over an example of how you're able to do that. But moving into the introduction and general overview section. This is our Valley of the Sun United Way Quality First Scholarships team. As I mentioned, my name is Johnny Perez. I'm one of the directors here with the program. And also presenting today are Stephanie Curry, our First Things First specialist, and then Daniel Field, one of our fiscal monitoring specialists. But as you can see, there are quite a few of us that work to support the program. We all work in different ways. Some of us are customer service specialists, again, fiscal monitoring specialists. We have IT support, and then obviously our managers and directors. But we just with this slide kind of wanted to put a face to the name that you might see over email or hear over the phone. We all work in different ways, again, to support the scholarships program. These are the participant requirements for State Fiscal Year 25. As we move through the presentation today, we are covering a lot of information, but if at any point you become overwhelmed or begin to think it's too much, we do just want to bring it back to these three basic steps that everyone must complete in order to ensure that they receive a payment at the end of the month. The first thing is to complete your annual contracting. This is done each year, whether you are a new participant or a returning participant. You will submit either that renewal or new participant online application via the scholarships reporting portal, and also sign the State Fiscal Year 25 participant agreement, and that is done via DocuSign. Once you're contracted with us, or as you're contracting with us, you can start qualifying your families for the program. We do operate a little bit differently than some other programs out there, specifically DES, in that we actually don't have a qualification office here. We rely on you as the participant to qualify your families. So as part of that, we will go over the criteria set forth by Valley of the Sun United Way and First Things First. And ultimately, you do assume that responsibility. This includes entering all children into the family qualification tool that is online in the reporting portal. And as we go through family qualification, obviously it will direct you to resources as well. And our team is always happy to help with any questions you may have as you're qualifying, but ultimately you do enter those children into the qualification tool, as that's how they pull to your monthly report. Once you have all of your children qualified, that is when you'll actually start submitting monthly reports. You do need to submit a monthly report online via the portal to be eligible for reimbursement. This is the way that we reimburse you each month. You could have 100 scholarships, but if we don't receive a report from you, we're not able to issue any payments. And just keep in mind that anything that you do report to us is subject to review during fiscal monitoring. With the program, much of it's done online, so we don't see many hard copies of like your family applications or qualification documents up front. However, if we request that information during our quality assurance or during fiscal monitoring, that's when you would need to be able to produce things like your family applications, taxes, pay stubs, sign in and out sheets, all that kind of stuff. There have been some updates for State Fiscal Year 25. If anybody was able to attend any of the Quality First forums, they did mention this, but there has been additional funding in the First Things First network since really about July of 2021. And in November of 2022, they chose to use this DES federal child care COVID-19 relief funding to also fund additional scholarships, as well as increase the reimbursement rates for scholarships. So Over the last year and a half or so, there has been more funding in the system. So there were more scholarships as well as higher reimbursement rates for those that were contracted with DES. Unfortunately, that federal funding was time limited, so it did end as of June 30th, 2024. This loss of funding does result in a reduction of scholarships. However, the First Things First board did vote to maintain the increased reimbursement rates. And previously, these were only available to sites that had an active DES contract. Now they are available to everyone. Additionally, if you are contracted with DES and you have a quality rating of 3 to 5 stars, any children that you have that are enrolled in the DES Child Care Assistance Program do receive an increased rate from DES because of your dual enrollment with DES and Quality First. If you have seen a reduction in your scholarships from last year to this year, we have provided the link here for families that may be eligible for DES Child Care Assistance to go ahead and apply. So as I mentioned, the First Things First board did vote to maintain the higher reimbursement rates that were previously only available to those sites that had a DES contract. If you didn't have a DES contract in these last couple of years, you will notice that these rates are quite a bit higher than the standard First Things First rates. That said, we did want to mention that scholarships are awarded to you as the participant as full-time. When you receive an allocation, those are for full-time scholarships. You do have the option to split your full-time scholarships in half. So those will be reimbursed at exactly half of the full-time rate, as you can see in the table below. And there's no maximum attendance requirements, we just have the minimums. So if you are facing that reduction in scholarships and you're trying to figure out how you can help the same amount of families or more families, again, with this limited number of spots, we do want to point out that you do have the option to, again, split those in half. And you may award part-time scholarships to students that truly do attend full-time, just with the understanding that since because we're reimbursing at that part-time rate, the parent would likely have a higher co-payment. But if that's something that's an option for your family, that is something that you are able to do. So scholarships are primarily distributed by First Things First to you as the participant. Everybody should have received an email around the first week of May letting them know how many scholarships that they would be receiving. And those allocations are determined based on your star rating, the funding that is available in your Regional Partnership Council, and your prior usage. So these types of scholarships are going to include what we call unrestricted or childcare scholarships. These can be used for anybody between the ages of 0 to 5 who are not yet eligible for kindergarten. Next, we have targeted pre-K scholarships or restricted scholarships. These are restricted for anybody between the ages of 3 to 5. Specifically, it's mostly Yuma County that restricts these scholarships. It's something that their Regional Partnership Council has voted on. But again, they work the same way. It's just they can only be awarded to kids 3 to 5. And then last, we have PEEP scholarships. These come from funding from Pima County that they have chosen to spend through First Things First to fund additional PEEP scholarships. These are also restricted for ages 3 to 5 and only available in Pima North and Pima South. With these scholarships, they do belong to you as the participant, so they do not transfer with the child if they move locations. So if a child leaves, they do leave that scholarship behind. The exception to this would be if you are a faith-based program that receives what we refer to as transferable scholarships, or if you are a participant that is part of a multi-site organization or school district, you are able to move your scholarships between your different locations as long as they fall within the same Regional Partnership Council. So as I mentioned, faith-based programs do receive what we refer to as transferable scholarships. These are scholarships awarded to children attending programs with a faith-based component. The requirements for these scholarships are the same as those for your regular Quality First scholarships. They still have to turn in the application and meet the same income requirements. However, once they are awarded by you as the participant to the family is given ownership of that scholarship so that it does become transferable. You do have to collect one additional form that we refer to as the Transferable Family Notification Acknowledgement Form. And these have to be submitted to Valley of the Sun United Way before we're able to issue payment. And should the family choose, they are able to transfer their scholarship. They do have to, though, stay in the same region as where their original scholarship was awarded. And they can only transfer as of the first of the month with at least 7 days prior notice to Valley of the Sun United Way. After 15 days of non-use, the scholarship is awarded back to the program where it originated. So if you are a faith-based program receiving these transferable scholarships and you have a child that has failed to be in attendance for about 2 weeks, we'd recommend reaching out to us. If we confirm that the family has not reached out to us to transfer, then ultimately after that 15-day period, they do forfeit the scholarship and you could award it to another child in your care. In addition to the scholarships that, again, are awarded from first things first to your program based on your regional funding and your star rating and how many scholarships you may have previously used, we also do have some special scholarship types. As I mentioned at the beginning, the families do apply to you and you process applications and determine eligibility. However, with these scholarship types, the families actually apply to Valley of the Sun United Way. We determine whether or not they are eligible, and if they are eligible, they can then use that scholarship at the center of their choice. So if they were to choose your center, their scholarship comes in addition to the ones that you already have. So these types of scholarships are going to include the Navajo Nation Arizona Off-Reservation Scholarship. This is available to children of permanent residents of the Navajo Nation who are temporarily residing off of the reservation to achieve a higher education. With this scholarship, the parent or guardian does have to provide a copy of their school schedule for each semester that they're enrolled and a certificate of Indian blood for their child. Next, we have the Hope 2 Scholarship. This is available to children of parents or guardians that participate in the Pathways program for single moms in Maricopa County. So again, the parent would have to already be enrolled in this program. And if they were enrolled and they meet our other eligibility requirements, such as income, then they would apply with us. And again, they can use that scholarship anywhere in Maricopa County. Last, we have the City of Phoenix Airport Worker Scholarship. This is available to children of parents or guardians who are Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport badged workers. With this scholarship, families may earn up to 400% of the federal poverty level, so it is a bit of an increase from the other scholarships. And the families would apply online, and that is the web address there that they would go to. And again, if they're approved, they can use that scholarship anywhere that they would like within Maricopa County. Again, these scholarships do belong to the family, so if they were to disenroll, they do take that scholarship with them. So we're now going to move into annual contracting. So contracting is completed with Valley of the Sun United Way on an annual basis. As I mentioned earlier, whether you are a new site or a returning site, you do have to contract with us each year. We typically begin this process in June. We open up the annual new participant and renewal applications on the reporting portal. If you're a returning participant, you simply log in, as you always do, and you'll be prompted automatically to complete this. If you are a new participant, we would have sent you an email around June, mid to late June, with a link to the reporting portal as well as instructions on how to get your username and password. If you need that email, please reach out to us and we can resend it to you. Otherwise, you should have received it, and then again, once you logged in, you're automatically prompted to complete the application. So you hit that green button that says begin. On page 1, we're asking for your participant information. This is stuff like who is the best contact person for your site, what is a good mailing address for you. You would fill all that information out or check it to make sure that the current information is accurate and then click next. On page 2, we're asking for a certificate of liability insurance. The requirements for the liability insurance are listed in our participant agreement that we send. So if you need those, you can find it there or email us and request it and we can send it over. But again, if you're a current participant, we'll display what we have on file as your current policy expiration date. If it's still current, you don't have to upload anything at that time. But if you are new or if it's expired, you'll want to upload a copy of your policy. On page 3, we will ask for you to either enter your tax ID or verify it if we already have one for you, and then upload a copy of your W-9. Again, if you're new or have changes. If you don't have changes, you'll just select you do not require updates and click next. And then the last page is for payment preferences. Again, if you're a current participant, we'll display your current information, so either your mailing address or the last 4 digits of your account and routing numbers. If you don't have changes, you'll select I do not have updates. But if you're new or if you do have changes, you can make those there. If you are selecting ACH direct deposit, we do require that you upload a voided check or bank letter in addition to typing that information into the online form. So again, the application is going to display your current information. If you are a returning participant, you can upload documents as needed and make changes, or check the boxes that say I do not require updates if no changes are required. Regardless of whether or not you have changes, whether or not you are new or returning, you do have to complete the online application. In addition to completing the online application, the other piece of contracting is to sign the participant agreement. This is sent to you via DocuSign. So we sent these contracts out probably about a month ago now, and you would have received an email from DocuSign that looks like this. You'll click the button that says review document, and it opens the contract up in DocuSign. At that point, you can sign. And then once you sign, it goes to our CFO. Once she signs, we receive the fully, or you and us receive the fully executed copy via email. If you have not received this email yet, again, please reach out to us and let us know. Or if you require a hard copy of the contract, like it has to go to your board of directors or your superintendent, whoever it might be, please just reach out to us again over phone or email, and we can send you that hard copy over. We do ask that if you are receiving a hard copy and making edits, that you do so via the Tracks Changes function in Word. That way it's easy for our legal counsel to review and approve those changes. Once your application has been submitted, you have access to all of the tabs in the reporting portal to begin downloading your documents, qualifying families, and entering them into the system. So while your application is pending, we do recommend that you again start distributing those family applications and start qualifying your families via the family qualification tab. Once we have reviewed and approved everything, you will receive an email notification that you can begin submitting your reports the next reporting window. So once we actually review the application, you will get an email from us that says your application has been approved. So separate from the Quality First Scholarships reporting portal, you all are probably familiar with the First Things First extranet. We do want to point out that the extranet is a separate system from the scholarships reporting portal, so it does have a different web address. However, and it's not managed by us. We do, though, use the data that's collected and stored in the extranet to build your participant profile. And this is going to include things like your program start and end dates. This is important because you are not eligible to receive scholarships in months not included as operational on the extranet. So if your extranet profile says that you operate from August to May, and then you attempt to submit a June report to us, the system won't even let you begin that report. It will tell you that you're not eligible. So again, you want to make sure that you have those dates in there accurately. They do pull all of this information as of April 1st. So if you have changes after that date, you will want to contact the scholarships team at First Things First to make sure that they're recorded. Next, we have annual instructional hours. You must make a selection for full-time or part-time. Instructional hours are going to include hours school is open and children are able to attend. As part of this requirement, you should have a calendar that is specific to the program or preschool that includes your daily operational hours, site closures, and any early release days as those apply. With instructional hours, if you are a part-time program, so again, operating 400 hours or more, but not quite that 1,120, you may only award part-time scholarships. That's not to say that you receive any fewer scholarships. Just for example, if you received 4 scholarships as a part-time program, you would have to split those 4 scholarships into 8 part-time scholarships. As a full-time program, you can award your scholarships as part-time or full-time. Again, whatever is going to best suit the needs of your families. Last, we do have multi-site transfers. So as I mentioned earlier, if you are a participant that has multiple sites under the same school district or parent organization, you are able to move your scholarships between your programs if they are located within the same region. You would just have to opt into participating in transfers on the extranet. Once you do that, first things first, we'll send you a Google Sheet that has all of your sites listed. Whenever you're making changes, you just update that Google Sheet and send it back to them, and they will make those edits. Again, first things first does pull all of this information down as of April 1st of each year. So if you were to go in today and notice that something was inaccurate or incorrect, you do want to reach out to them at this email below to request those changes. So that covers the annual contracting and introduction. We're now going to go ahead and move into family qualification and fiscal monitoring, and I'll pass it over to Daniel.
Hi, good afternoon, guys. I'm the fiscal monitoring specialist in our team. So some of you may have seen me going out there and do the family qualification fiscal monitoring portion of it. So in this presentation, it'll be broken down on what we look at, what we do, and how we can potentially fix some of those errors or no errors that you may or may not have. So we'll continue on. Oh, I can't even drive. There you go. So the first portion of the family qualification is just understanding that the participants are responsible for qualifying the families for the scholarships program based on the criteria set by Valley of the Sun United Way and First Things First. And requirements for all children are included below, which is the fiscal year 25 family application, proof of lawful presence and age, proof of household size, proof of income, the 2025 fiscal year enrollment packet, which includes the family award notification, the summary of attendance expectations, and then also documentation of attendance, which are the sign in and out sheets. Those are the methods that are used to qualify families and review. Failure to properly qualify a child for the scholarship program will result in funds being rescinded by Valley of the Sun United Way. And we'll go over a few ways on how we do that, if need be. So the first portion of the application, it is available in English and in Spanish. And a current year family application is required for all children receiving the scholarships. And the review for the application is as follows. The family members listed on page 1 should correspond and must correspond to the submitted proof of household size, taxes, or public assistance letters. We also check for a valid Arizona zip code, family contact phone number, and email, and ensure that all selections are made for special needs, race, ethnicity, and languages spoken in the family home. Check that the parent or guardian initialed and signed in all places indicating. The updates for the new application for this year are new fields for family members, dates of birth, and employment statuses. And these fields must be filled out as the information is required when entering children into the online family qualification tool in your portal. And then the new fields are being collected for data sharing purposes, but eligibility criteria, which family members must submit proof of income, has not changed. So more data sharing and data tracking is what we're doing for this new fiscal year. The second thing that we look at is lawful presence and age. So the applying child or children must be lawfully present in the U.S. and be between the ages of 0 and 5, not yet eligible for kindergarten, to receive scholarships. And children born on August 31st, 2019, or earlier are ineligible to receive scholarships after the 1st of September of 2024. The hospital birth certificates or social security cards are not acceptable proof of lawful presence and age. And all of the valid documents are listed on page 10 of the family application. Lawful presence requirements applies to the applying child only, and the parents and guardians are not required to prove lawful presence for themselves. So it's only exclusively for the child. And children aging up, for example, from toddler to preschooler in the month following their birthday. So basically your reimbursement won't change until the following month if a child ages up. So if they're turning 3 in August right now, your reimbursement rate won't change until the following month, just to clarify. So household size, all applications require the submission of one of the following documents to prove household size. The public assistance approval or denial letter proves household size and income. And household members listed must match the family application, including the applying child. Must include a monthly gross income, and it must be dated within the last 12 months. The other way that we confirm and verify household size is by using the Tax 1040 page 1, and must be for the 2023 tax year or later. Household members listed must match the family application, including the applying child. And this proves only the household size. So we must collect other proof of income as listed on page 3 and 4 of the family application. And the household size documents must tie to page 1 of the family application. So public assistance letters. So the public assistance letters are food stamps, access, and TANF, and those are issued by the Department of Economic Security and may be used to verify the household size and income when they meet the following criteria. They should be dated within the last 12 months. It must list all the household members included on the family application. It must include a monthly gross income, and it should include a benefit decision, whether it be approved, a denial, or a renewal. The application summaries are not acceptable, and DS child care subsidy denial letters are not acceptable either. So renewal approvals may be accepted to verify household size, but if the renewals do not include a monthly gross income amount, the applicants must submit their proof of income as listed on the family application. Income. So families are qualified for the scholarship program based on the gross annual income for their household size. So all family members must indicate on the family application whether they are working, whether they are employed by others, or they're self-employed or unemployed. Any type of income must be listed. So proof of income is required for all contributing members, and the contributing members are the parents or guardians related to the child via birth, marriage, or adoption. They are also the head of household who claims the child as a dependent on their taxes or public assistance. And they are the boyfriends and girlfriends living in the same home who share a biological child in common with the applying parent and guardian or guardian. So acceptable income documentation for contributing members employed by others who hold a job. We will need 1 current consecutive month's worth of pay stubs. And when determining gross income, all pay descriptions are considered countable with the exception of overtime, bonuses, and per diem. Qualification is based on gross income, not net. So gross income from pay stubs will be added together, divided by the total number of pay stubs to determine an average pay per period. And then that average will be multiplied by the annual number of pay periods. Statement from employers on company letterheads must include a gross annual income or the employee's hourly rate, the hours worked, the average hours worked, and also the pay frequency. So if they just started a new job or just switched to a new role, we can use the employer offer letters, as long as it has all of that information listed in there. So acceptable income documentation for self-employed contributing members, those who have their own business. So if taxes have been filed for the business, the family should provide a tax form 1040 with applicable forms, which include the schedules C, E, Z, Schedule E, F, and K1. And we also need ledgers for the 3 most recent months, verifying gross income and receipts for business expenses listed within those months. The income is calculated using the monthly ledgers, and the business expenses will only be deducted if a corresponding receipt has been provided. So it's very important that we get those receipts when you have those self-employed family members, okay? If taxes have not been filed for the business, the family should provide a valid extension from the IRS and a signed profit and loss statement for the 3 most recent months, and receipts or statements verifying gross income and receipts for business expenses within those months. In this case, the income will be calculated using the profit and loss statements, and business expenses will only be deducted if a corresponding receipt has been provided. So the income documentation for unemployed contributing members are as followed. Unemployment insurance statements. So must provide a summary of weekly benefits paid and the remaining balance for the claim. This income counts towards the overall family gross income calculation. Now, if they are not working, then a no income declaration form is needed and is required for all contributing members with no earned income. It is also available on the Policies and Procedures tab in English and in Spanish. And for those contributing members experiencing homelessness, families experiencing homelessness should provide a signed statement from their case manager and a signed personal statement explaining the circumstances, which is only accepted with prior approval from VSUW and FTF. So acceptable, countable, unearned income documentations are unemployment insurance. We count the unemployment insurance, education assistance, which is no student loans, government or tribal income, Social Security income, retirement payments, veteran benefits, child support, or spousal maintenance. So if the applying parent did not claim the applying child on their taxes or public assistance, and there is no formal custody agreement, both parents' total income is counted. The other parent's income is not counted if the applying parent has claimed the applying child and all dependents on their taxes or their public assistance letter, or there is a custody agreement granting them primary custody. In cases of 50-50 custody with no ordered child support, both parents' total income is counted. And that comes up a lot. But if you guys forget, feel free to call us and we'll let you know. So the other thing that's part of the family qualification is our enrollment packet, and that is the newest one, which is fiscal year 2025. It is available in English and in Spanish, and it is required for all qualified children. You, the participant, must keep a signed copy in the child's file and provide the parent or guardian with a copy for their records. Page 2 of the enrollment packet is the family award notification, and this informs the family of their scholarship award type, whether it be full-time or part-time, and their monthly scholarship reimbursement. Participants should enter the monthly amount paid by First Things First or VSUW, and do not enter a weekly rate, and do not enter the family's copay or private pay tuition rate. This is the rate that is being reimbursed to you. And then the last page of the enrollment packet is the summary of attendance expectations. And this informs the family of the minimum attendance expectations for their scholarship award type. 8 scheduled days and 93 scheduled hours is for full-time, and 8 scheduled days and 34 scheduled hours are for part-time. This also notifies the family that their scholarship may be revoked due to consistent failure to meet attendance expectations. So if they have chronic absenteeism, you can exercise your power to revoke the scholarship from this family and give it to someone else who needs it. So ineligible children, those who do not qualify are children of program owners, CEOs, or other equivalent titles. Those are ineligible to receive a Quality First scholarship at a program where their parent or guardian occupies one of these roles. But children of employees who work at programs, which are excluding the CEO or anybody else who have that equivalent title, are eligible for Quality First scholarships. Children who are eligible for DES childcare assistance are ineligible for the Quality First scholarship. So applicants must accept the DES childcare assistance if or when it is offered. Declining the assistance will result in the loss of any Quality First scholarships, and children in the foster care are eligible for DES childcare assistance and or Head Start and must accept either over the Quality First scholarship. Is one of the reasons why we're working very closely with DES so that the data sharing can better track who is being accepted for the Quality First scholarships and who are not, because they might qualify for the DES childcare subsidy. So there's that. So some of the common mistakes that we see, definitely on the reimbursement rate listed on the enrollment packet. We see it a lot. So reference the policies and procedures tabs for the rates. So in case you do happen to not know, or say you don't know what your reimbursement rate is, if you reference the policies and procedures tabs, it'll list all of the rates depending on the age group. But the reimbursement rate should be listed on page 2 of the enrollment packet and not your private pay or your monthly tuition rate. Should the reimbursement rate change mid-year due to a change in the child's age or the participant's star rating, an updated family award notification must be collected. So if your child ages up, they go from toddler to preschooler, we expect an updated enrollment packet to be archived in that folder of that child. Another common mistake that we see is calculating income based on the incorrect pay frequency. Most people are paid bi-weekly and not twice a month. So that does change the formula. And then the other thing that we see a lot are not counting all pay descriptions. All pay descriptions are considered countable with the exception of overtime, bonuses, and per diem. And remember that the qualification is based on the gross income and not on the net income. Another common mistake is the public assistance letters, and they should have a benefit decision. The application summaries are not acceptable because that's information that hasn't been verified yet by DES. And then household size document is missing or doesn't tie to the family application. All family members must be listed on the application and must also be listed on the family household size document. So they should correspond and reflect the same exact amount of people and names. So the fiscal monitoring portion, now that we know how to qualify a family. So Valley of the Sun United Way is required to review monthly reporting and child files for a select number of participants each year via process referred to as fiscal monitoring. And reviews are conducted in person at the participant's program or online via the reporting portal. Subject to review at the program level are the program calendars and tuition rate sheets. And subject to be reviewed at the child level are the fiscal year 2025 family application and enrollment packet, the proof of age and lawful presence, qualification by household size and income, individual monthly sign-in and out sheets for the enrollment month, and individual monthly sign-in and out sheets for the months selected for review period. So following the review during the fiscal monitoring, the fiscal monitoring specialist will upload an initial report to the reporting portal that details any errors found during the review. They are categorized by three different, things. The first one is verbal warning, which is a reporting or qualification error that does not affect any payment, but may require that the reporting database and participant files be updated. That could technically be just a simple misspelling. That would be a verbal warning. The next one up is a little bit more serious, and it is called an observation, which is a matter of concern that needs to be addressed that will require monetary adjustment if corrective action is not taken to ensure compliance. And then lastly, a finding. A finding is a fiscal issue that needs to be addressed and will require a monetary adjustment. Participants with a combination of observations and findings will have their next payment held if observations are not resolved. And participants with observations only will have 10 business days to resolve observations before their next payment is held. All observations must be resolved within 30 business days. So findings are mistakes or errors identified during fiscal monitoring that will require monetary adjustment. And the example is as follows. You receive a fiscal monitoring notice in November 2024. And during the file review, your fiscal monitoring specialist finds that Caleb, a toddler, is missing proof of income for one of his parents. Caleb received a full-time scholarship from July 2024 to September 2024, but has since disenrolled. So you attempt to contact the family to collect the missing income documents, but are unable to reach them within 30 business day window to resolve observations. The observation becomes a finding. At your 4-star center, the adjustment breaks down as follows. 1,250 times 3 months equates to 3,750 of total deduction from future payments. So participants may not charge the families for amounts owed to Valley of the Sun United Way for any of these findings. So please don't charge our families for a mistake. Inquiries. So participants are responsible for qualifying all families for Quality First scholarships. However, VSUW has provided a mechanism for participants to ask questions about family applications or upload any documents that they would like a second opinion on. So this is pretty handy for you to use. Say you have a question that may or may not be so urgent. You can use it here, and even if it is urgent, you can still use it here while we're on the line, and we can review any of the documents that you upload. So make sure that you use the inquiries tab, which is found inside the family qualification tab. And I will pass this on to Stephanie, who will take care of monthly reporting for us.
Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Curry, and I am a specialist with First Things First, and I specialize with all things reimbursement. So things like needing to change your banking or your W-9s or any adjustments after reporting. So we'll get started with monthly reporting. You're required to submit a monthly report in order to be eligible to receive your reimbursement. And prior to beginning the report, you must qualify any of your enrolled children through the family qualification tool that Daniel just ran us through. Once qualified through the family qualification tool, the children that are eligible will pull to the monthly reports automatically. And a few dates and times to keep in mind, the reporting window is open from 12 a.m. on the first calendar day of the month to 11:59 p.m. on the 7th calendar day of the month for the month prior. And the reporting window does include weekends and holidays, so you'll want to prepare accordingly. Reports submitted after the 7th are considered late, and reports may not be submitted more than 1 month late, and no late reporting is allowed for June, as it's the final month of the fiscal year. And all reports are subject to quality assurance checks, so you may be asked to submit family qualification documents, sign in and out sheets, program calendars, or rate sheets, just for us to verify the reported information. So for those of you that have reported before, this screen will look familiar for you. We're going to go through, kind of run down through the questions. So once on the new report screen for monthly reporting, you will have to complete the following questions. So the report period will be the report month. Question number 1 is you'll want to review any of your current information for accuracy, and if there are any changes, you will report that in 1A. Question number 2, you'll report any changes to your licensing information, being sure to upload any new certificates to the Documents tab in the reporting portal. And question 3 is in regards to the waitlist, but only report a waitlist if all scholarship slots are in use. Do not report a waitlist if you have some slots that are still available. And questions number 4 and 5, you'll enter how many children started or left during the month, and if there were no changes, you will enter 0. You are also required to provide information in regards to monthly program instructional time. So moving on to question number 6, that will be information about instructional days. So the days the children are able to attend school in person. Question 7 is instructional hours. So the hours the school is open and children are able to attend in person. Keeping in mind that we may request school calendars to confirm annual instructional hours. So your calendar should include school start and end times, closures, and or any early release dates that may come up during the year. Question 8, in regards to closure holidays, days children would have been scheduled to attend, but the school was closed for a holiday or a break. And question 9 has to do with in-service days. So days children would have been scheduled to attend, but the school was closed for things like teacher work days, conferences, or home visits. So your roster of enrolled children that have been qualified through the family qualification tool will pull to the report below the site level questions. Participants must qualify all children via the tool prior to beginning the report. Once again, the following information will pull forward to the monthly report from the tool: the child's first name, their last name, their date first attended, and a note on this: if you do not know the first date attended, which you might not as you're qualifying them, you don't have to add it to the qualification record in the tool. You can add it while you're reporting, but once you add it in the monthly report, that first date attended does become a locked field. So child date of birth also pulls forward, family size, and family gross annual income. You are required to provide information in regard to your program rates and fees for each enrolled child, and these fields should be updated monthly. So this includes the monthly tuition, which is the monthly rate for days scheduled, and this is before any fees, discounts, or scholarship reimbursement are applied. Any monthly fees, so any additional charges that have incurred in the reporting month for things like late pickup, diapers, special classes, late payment, those types of things. And monthly tuition assistance, so any monthly discounts aside from the scholarship reimbursement. So if you offer employee discounts, sibling discounts, military discounts, that kind of thing. And then the monthly amount charged to the family will be the co-payment that is owed from the family for the month. So an example of how that could look, we have the monthly tuition for Isabella, who is a preschooler, is $1,025. Isabella is enrolled in the summer gardening class, which costs an additional $75 a month. The family does not receive any tuition assistance outside of the scholarship. So how that would look is the tuition and fees are $1,100, subtracting the discounts and scholarships. So they didn't have discounts, but they did have the scholarship. So subtracting $1,050 leaves a co-payment of $50 for the family for the month. And families should not be charged a co-payment if the scholarship reimbursement rate covers all the tuition and fees. And families with scholarships should not be charged differently than any other family. In addition to providing information about the program time as a whole, participants must also provide information in regard to each child's individual schedule time as we reimburse on schedule time. So you'll be required to fill in the days scheduled. So the days the child is scheduled to attend in person. The days attended are the days the child actually attended per the sign in and out sheet that we can verify. And absences are auto-populated based on the days scheduled, subtracting days attended. And scheduled hours are the child's average daily hours multiplied by their scheduled days. So do not include the hours for closures, holidays, or in-service, and do not report on attended hours. You want to report scheduled days and attended days. And keep in mind that there's a question mark icon that does appear throughout the report. If you hover over this, you'll be able to see definitions for each field if you do need a reminder. So moving on to schedule time, again, scholarships are reimbursed on schedule time. So absences are covered and attendance does not impact reimbursement, except when the child is enrolling or vacating. A couple things to keep in mind with schedule time. You cannot schedule a child until they have attended 1 day in person, and you cannot schedule a child for more than 10 days past their last date attended in person. So we have an example here. Jaden has been enrolled at your program since July of 2024. Their parents agreed to a 5-day-a-week schedule. The parents usually drop them off at 7 a.m. and pick them up at 3 p.m. Jaden last attends in person on November 8th, 2024, and fails to return after Veterans Day. So Jaden's usual schedule is Monday through Friday, so 5 days a week, 7 a.m. to 3, so 8 hours a day. The site did have a closure for holiday on Veterans Day, so November 11th. Jaden's date last attended was the 8th of November, so they were vacated 10 days later on the 18th of November. So the scheduled days comes out to 11 for November. And the scheduled hours is 88. It is 8 hours per day. So the final reimbursement for Jaden for November will be 3/4 time as they are vacating in November. And something to keep in mind is children will not be removed from the reports until you actually enter a vacate date into the system, into the report. Vacate date, date last attended, and vacate reason. If you do not enter these pieces of information, the child will keep pulling, and we might reimburse on that child and then have to adjust and resend those funds. So if you do have a child that is vacating, make sure that you fill out those 3 fields in the report. So a few common mistakes with monthly reporting is failing to qualify children prior to beginning the monthly report. If you do that, then they will not automatically pull to your report. Failing to vacate children in the month that they leave the program. So whenever possible, please avoid vacating children as of the first of the following month. If you can vacate them the month that they actually leave, that is preferable. Reporting attended hours instead of scheduled hours. Again, we reimburse on attended hours and scheduled hours, not, I'm sorry, we reimburse on scheduled time, not hours. Failing to properly update the waitlist for scholarships, participants should not report a waitlist if all scholarships are not in use again. And a few common quality assurance items that may come up or you may be, our team might reach out to you in regards to is we may follow up if 2 children share the same name or date of birth. So if you have a situation with, say, twins that share a same date of birth, you can preemptively go ahead and upload those documents to the portal because the team will reach out in regards to that. And they may reach out as well if the family income is less than 1,000 or in excess of 100,000. So again, you can upload those documents as well for them to take a look at. And we may request school calendars or sign in and out sheets to verify reported operational or scheduled time. Okay, moving on to payment. Payment, which is also known as final reimbursement. Children must be scheduled to attend the minimum days and hours for their scholarship award type in order to receive reimbursement. If they're not scheduled the minimum time required, they will not receive reimbursement, except for the following situations: when the child is enrolling, or the child is vacating, like our example with Jaden, or the participant has reported at least one closure, holiday, or in-service day. So just a quick look at part-time. Minimum scheduled days would be 8, and the minimum scheduled hours is 34. And for full-time, the minimum scheduled days, again, is 8, and the minimum scheduled hours is 93. So children who do not meet the minimum scheduled time requirements for their scholarship type, but are affected by one or more of the scenarios above, may receive a partial payment. We do post the fiscal year payment calendar online under the policies and procedures so that you can have that for your resources. And reimbursements are paid on a monthly basis. Again, you will not be reimbursed if you do not submit a monthly report. Reimbursement for late reports will be paid during the following month's payment cycle, so you will have to wait a month. No reports are accepted after July 7th of each fiscal year. And payments are issued to participants either through paper checks or direct deposit. If you do want to request a change to how to receive your reimbursement, you can do so either during the time of the annual application or at any time through the account settings tab. Please do keep in mind, if you select direct deposit, you do need to also upload a voided check or bank letter for the account, and so that we can process the update and verify the information. Reconciliation reports are posted to the Adjustments and Recon tab the same day that the payments are issued. And these reports detail the monthly amount paid by each enrolled child. Moving on to adjustments. So you can submit adjustments up to 1 month in arrears to correct payments made for prior reports. Adjustments are also due on the 7th calendar day of the month following the original report due date. Adjustments submitted after the 7th day of the month after reports are due will not be considered for reimbursement, only in the cases where the adjustment is to correct an incorrect birth date or it is triggered by a fiscal monitoring visit. We do have the adjustment form uploaded to the Policies and Procedures tab, and we may withhold your payment for any of the following reasons: regulatory enforcement action, unresolved fiscal monitoring or quality assurance items, or any pending contracting items. And previously held payments are typically released following the resolution of the issue. So we have created a few FAQ and example documents and also recorded trainings for your reference on the Policies and Procedures tab in the reporting portal. I highly recommend taking a look at those in your free time. A few of the topics covered include income, household size, reading public assistance letters, some help on monthly reporting, adjustments, transferable scholarships. And you can also submit questions anytime via the inquiry section that Daniel showed us through the Family Qualification tab. And here's our contact information. We do have our regional scholarships email there, as well as the link to the reporting portal.